खाली है तेरे बिना दोनों अखियाँ, तुम गए कहाँ। खाली है तेरे बिना दोनों अखियाँ, तुम गए कहाँ। अखियों के आलों में तेरे बिना रात भर जलती है बादियाँ यहाँ।
Hello, I'm Naimish. The line I just sang is from a duet from movie Paheli, and the singers are Hariharan and Bela Shinde. The lyrics are written by Gulzar, and the composer is the recent Oscar winner M.M. Karim. The purpose of my singing this line is twofold. One is to draw your attention to an ornamentation technique that singers use. And second is that the first line of this particular song, Khali hai tere bina dono akhiyan, is using some of the key phrases of Raag Jog. And Raag Jog has a special place in my heart because that Raag was my main Raag at my recital. And I learned a lot from working on that Raag. Now, even if you're not classically trained or inclined to learn classical music, I believe that learning some of the ornamentation techniques of vocal music would help you a lot. And if you learn some of those techniques and implement them in your singing, you will go a long way as far as improving your singing is concerned. Today we'll talk about one of those techniques. But before I do that, please do subscribe to my channel and listen to this video until the end. I will be sharing with you exactly how you can work and practice this technique that I'm going to talk about today. In North Indian classical music, there's a term that is frequently used, and it's called alankar. That means ornament. The traditional name of the alankar that I'm going to talk about, or the ornamentation technique that I'm going to talk about in this video, is called Meend, or glides. So let me demonstrate the concept of Meend with using some notes. So I'm going to use sa, re, ga, ma, the first four notes of her octave, and various ways you can go from sa and land on ma and rest on ma. Ultimately, Indian music or music has many resting points, multiple notes sung together with, of course, words overlaid on top of it, and then you rest, and then you pick up the next word, and that's how you create a song. When you use meend, you add certain effects to your singing. So let's talk about sa, re, ga, ma in a meend way. But before I do that, let me sing three other ways you can sing sa, re, ga, ma. The first one is you start with sa and you land on ma by going over each note distinctly. So you make sure that you step on each step of the ladder. If you imagine sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa as steps of a ladder, you sing each note distinctly. That's called a staccato way of singing. So it sounds something like this. So this is staccato way of singing. There's another way of singing sa, re, ga, ma. It's something called legato way, where you gently glide in almost like a wave form, not stepping on each note distinctly. You still touch each note and give its due respect, but you do it smoothly. Ah. So this is a legato way of singing. Ah. The third way is you go from one step to the fourth step. You ignore re and ga, meaning you jump from one step of the ladder to the first step of the ladder to the fourth step. Again, you're achieving your goal of going from one note to the last note of your intended phrase and resting there. It is still a staccato way, but you are jumping the notes. So it'll be like sa ma ah. So that's jumping notes. Now, meend is where you go from your beginning note, the first note of your phrase, the sound that you are going to use for that note, you hold that sound and you move gently up to your intended note while gliding over your other notes that are in between that you intend to glide over. So in this case, we want to glide over re and ga, not stepping, not touching, almost creating a perception that I'm going there, but I'm not staying there. The other important aspect is whatever the letter that you're using for that particular note, sa in this case, you carry it until you reach the resting place. So this is sa re ga ma, right? Sa ma. I didn't let sa go until I got to ma. Sa ma. Sa ma. So this is meend. Now, when you use sa re ga ma, it's okay. It's pretty benign. But when you overlay these particular notes with words, and words carry certain emotions, when you use meend, you can convey certain moods. Perhaps you want to convey love or sadness. Meends are very effective when you want to convey those. So the example that I used earlier when I sang the first line of Kali Hai Tere Bina, that's in Raag Jog, and Raag Jog is a very meend pradhan Raag, and perhaps that is why M.M. Cream probably used Raag Jog phrases for this line. And so let's see how meend is used in this particular phrase. Kali hai tere bina dono akhiyan. Of course, I'm exaggerating to make my point here. Kali hai tere bina dono akhiyan, tum gaye kahan, tum gaye kahan. So that is meend. Next time when you hear a song, look for these types of ornamentation techniques that are applied in those songs. There are many other techniques the singers use, and I'll be talking about some of those techniques in my future videos. So how do you learn meend, and how do you implement that in your singing? First, if you are a classical singer or if you're learning classical music, I'm sure you have been exposed to this concept, and if you're a beginner, I'm sure your teacher will eventually cover this concept. If you're a beginner, when you learn your notes, when you learn your tans, I would suggest you sing them in both staccato way and legato way. Practice both. Because going from legato way to meend or glides, it's comparatively easier. If you're not inclined to learn classical music or not interested in learning classical music, listen to original song that you're working on and listen carefully. I'm going to make a video on active listening versus passive listening, but do active listening where you look for you specifically listen for these types of ornamentation, and then see how you can implement those while you are practicing your song. And if you need help with any of the music related questions, please reach out to me. I'll see you next time in my next video.